Mark, a key hallmark for you all defensively all year is paint protection and prioritizing that. What worked well with just the coordination of your defense to ensure that they didn't get much down low and had to be a jump shooting team tonight?
Yeah, I mean, they're a good jump shooting team, so I would expect them to make more of the open ones as we go through the series. I didn't think they shot it great tonight relative to how they normally do, but I did think we were on it. We took a lot of the easy stuff away, made them earn everything, and when you do that, you give yourself a chance to have a night like tonight where the jump shots don't go in because they're over a contest. So I thought generally we were pretty good.
Yeah, and then offensively, against their pressure, they've been one of the best turnover forcing teams in the league, and may get to more of that. But you all were able to execute it and not be, not turn it over, not many live ball. What was key there, and just the precision on the offensive end?
Yeah, I thought we were good execution, good force inside of the actions, good pace in an opportunistic way, but not reckless. And just executed in the half court, got ourselves advantages, made the right plays. I thought the unselfishness tonight really popped. And so, we just bet on good shots and played pretty well on that end as well.
Mark, that lineup to start the second with J. Will, J. Dub, Kaysen, AJ, Ijo, that lineup hasn't played a ton this year, but it felt like the foundation of the lead was built on that lineup today. Like, what do you see from that lineup? What do you hope to see out of that lineup throughout the series?
Yeah, those guys were great. They went in there, extended the lead. I thought Jay Will's first half minutes were particularly impactful, especially on the glass. The rebounding, this is the best crashing team in the league. They don't get the most offensive rebounds, but they go more than anybody. And so you got to be really cognizant of that. I thought at the end of the first half, that reared its head a little bit. They got on the glass, they got extra possessions. I think they had 14 second chance points at halftime. But prior to that, Jay Will really patrolled it with the defensive rebounding down there.
And Dub was just saying earlier this week that he feels as fresh as possible because he barely played this year. What do you sort of want him? I imagine maybe the injury stuff is on his mind some. What do you want him to be mindful of as he progresses through the postseason, considering the way his year's gone?
I mean, I wouldn't assume anything about what he's thinking. Just want all the guys to be present in whatever's going on. I thought we did that really well today. I thought we were present coming into the game, understood it was game one. I thought we stayed present throughout the game. Our focus didn't waver despite building a lead. And I would say that for any player in a playoff circumstance.
Yeah, Mark, you mentioned how good of a shooting team they are. Can you speak to the defensive discipline you guys have to have by protecting the paint while also trying to run them off the three, contest those three-point shots, make them take tough shots all night while also being solid in the paint? Yeah,
I mean, it starts at the point of attack with them because they have, off-the-dribble jump shooters, between Brooks, especially in the mid-range, but Booker at every level, and Jalen Green. So it starts there. I thought to start the second half, we were off their body a little bit, and they got some clean looks and caught a little bit of a rhythm. So it starts there. You got to be really good at the point of attack, and then good in the help, and then good flying out of it. So we did that on enough possessions tonight. But like I said, I would expect them to shoot it better on some of the open ones. We got lucky on some plays, and they're coming off of, this is a tough turnaround for them. They're coming off of 2 emotional games, having to travel yesterday, turn around, play an early game today. Now they get 2 days, and so we're going to face a rested, hungry team on Wednesday.
And 9 guys with offensive rebounds. It just seemed like there was mostly a lot of effort plays for you guys that went your way tonight. Can you just talk about the way you guys set the tone early for those type of plays?
Yeah, I thought the competitiveness of the guys and the togetherness of the guys was through the roof today. And in a game one of the playoffs especially, where, there's a lot of energy in the building, everyone's excited, you just want to make sure you get that right. You want to compete together, and I thought we did that today. And there's plenty we can learn from the game. There's more details we can get into as we become more familiar with the opponent, but we got the most important stuff right today, and I think that's why we played as well as we did.
Mark
mentioned, you can go ahead.
This was a lot like game one and round one a year ago, a big win to open the playoffs. Just how important is that to start a postseason run like this?
I mean, they're all important. They're all different. I do think it reinforces a great week of preparation. I thought the guys did a great job. A week off is very, unfamiliar. You never get a week off in between games. And the guys just did a great job of staying present getting the work in we need to get done. The focus and the energy throughout the week was excellent, and we got ourselves in a good position to play well today, and obviously we did.
You mentioned competing. Shea had 2 blocks in this one on top of obviously a very heavy offensive workload. Just what does it kind of speak to his energy that he provides on that end of the floor when, it would be easy to kind of save your energy for the offensive side?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a great defense for a while now, and he plays the most minutes, and so you don't have a great defense if we don't have our highest minute player being as good as he is and as impactful as he is. So I thought he was great. I thought the rest of the guys were great. They were tuned up today. Great balance of focus and energy, competitiveness. But it's one game. It's the beginning of the series, not the end.
Felt like Phoenix really tried to be the aggressor early on. Really within that first 2 or 3 minutes. Team stayed pretty disciplined, didn't react, anything like that. Can you just talk about how important that emotional discipline is for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we're competitive. It's emotional in the playoffs. Everybody wants to win. You just got to make sure you channel that in the right direction, and I thought we did a nice job there. But this Phoenix team's an aggressive team. They're physical. They attack the game. They're going to bring the fight to you, and we just have to understand there's a competitive team over there, and when they come off a game like this and get their legs back under them, they're going to be really ready to play on Wednesday, and so that's really what it comes down to now that this game's in the books.
And then Loud City was very loud today. Can you just kind of talk about the fans and how they showed up on the anniversary of what's probably the saddest day in Oklahoma City history?
Yeah, great fans, through and through. It's a special day. Like I said before the game, it's a privilege to play on this day for our city and for the victims and their families. But yeah, the crowd was outstanding, as they always are in the playoffs.
In pregame, you talked about how the playoff sort of lends itself more to defense than the regular season does. I just want to ask about a guy like Chet. How big is it to have a guy who can sort of impact and sort of deter things on that end, sort of from all over the floor, whether he's guarding the ball or off it?
Yeah, I mean, his versatility defensively really unlocks our ability to have optionality. And they're a little bit smaller right now at times, and we like having Hart out there. It gives us advantages in some ways, but you can't do that if Chet isn't as versatile as he is on the perimeter, and his ability to play out on the floor, take on different matchups, handle different coverages in real time is really impressive. It's one thing to be a great rim protector, but it's another thing to be that plus all the other things that he does for us. Really, like I said, it unlocks our options. It really extends our menu.
You had all week to get ready, so I'm sure guys were anxious, but most time people think of offense first. And I know you talked about the defense, but it looked like they were really connected, covering up for each other, and just really connected tonight. And everybody know you're a good defensive team, but to start off the way you did has got to be pretty encouraging to start your playoffs.
Yeah, it was a great, defensive performance. I thought the guys were, like I said, really competitive, played on a string, great communication, covered for each other. It wasn't perfect, but we had each other's backs. We forced them to earn everything. But, they'll look at it. Phoenix will, and they'll have a couple things to try to crack us. We got to be ready for what they throw at us and continue on. It's like I said, it's the beginning of the series, not the end.
We'll do 2 more, Barry and then Jenny.
Yeah, the 55-foot pass from Jay Will to Chet. You got anything else in your arsenal? Can you go 80 feet if you needed to?
Well, he's got a great arm. He's probably our best arm on the team. He's got a cannon, actually. He's got a great arm. So you can, he really can throw. So he's the guy in those situations. He knows he's the guy. We've hit it a couple times. They have a great chemistry on that. The key on that one's not throwing it out of bounds. You get somebody that's too tuned up. They throw it out of bounds, then the other team gets an under out. So he's also intelligent. He underthrows it so that if there's a turnover, it's a live ball turnover and they have to go 50 feet.
Mark, you talk about the energy of a playoff game, and then you throw in an instigator like Dylan Brooks, and obviously you have to manage that. But I'm wondering defensively, just handling him, and you did a great job tonight. He took a lot of shots and got some points, but didn't hit a bunch of shots. What's important in X's and O's in handling him?
Brooks. Yeah. I mean, he's a guy we have great respect for. He's really changed. The last 3 teams he's been on, there's been a kind of a culture of winning and a culture of defense on all 3 of those teams, and I don't think that's an accident. So we have high respect for him. He's a great competitor. He's a great 2-end player. He's had an outstanding offensive year, one of the best of his career, and so we have nothing but respect for their team, and we got to get ourselves to 0 here and prepare for game 2.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep, thank you.